Good afternoon and welcome to our first 2020 virtual Exhibit National Assembly webinar. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kelly O'Neill and I am the Manager of Meetings and Membership at Eola. I know you're all anxious to hear more about the platform. We're confident you're going to find it as robust and engaging as we do. Eola staff vented more than a dozen platforms, demoed 6, and met with 2 consultants to ensure we chose the best platform to meet your needs. Today, we're joined by our platform consultant, Adam Briggs, Senior Vice President, Operations at Conference Direct. Adam is going to provide a demo of the platform, including highlighting the functionality and benefits. This is just a demo. We will also be doing a training in July, and you will also have the ability to take advantage of one-on-one support from Eola. This webinar is being recorded and will be sent to you within the next couple of days. We encourage you to share with anyone on your team that might be interested. We'll be taking a couple of questions about the platform at the end, so please note if you have any other questions, email me at kelly.o'neill@eopanet.org. If we don't get to all the questions, we will follow up via email with responses. I will now turn it over to Adam. Adam, take it away.
Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. We really appreciate the opportunity, and we're excited for helping you deliver real value for your exhibitors and sponsors. So today, what we're going to go through is a walkthrough of some of the features and benefits for the exhibitor and sponsor community for Eola. We'll talk through ways to engage with the audience, and as well as options for increasing visibility and showcasing your solutions. So when we talk about the solutions, we also have the ability to look at the virtual trade show booths, sponsorship opportunities, branded landing pages for your organization, lead capture, and networking opportunities. There is the ability also to have your own company profile where you can highlight various aspects of your organization. You can increase your visibility through use of images, whether it's product images, it could be a video of demonstrations or commercials. You can enhance engagement through use of polling features where you can offer questions for the audience, and you do giveaways for answering the questions correctly. You can attach documents such as user guides, marketing materials, disclosures, and then you'll also have the ability to have interactive exhibit booth hours. So with the exhibit booth hours, during defined windows of time, attendees will be able to visit your booth and live video chat with your booth staff. Now, while they're video chatting, you'll have the ability to also curate leads and lead capture, which we'll talk about as well. So in terms of your booth staff, you do have the ability of managing your staff. And with the booth profiles, we definitely encourage you to add pictures and descriptions, job titles to really enhance the exposure that you're giving your personnel. You will have the ability to network with other attendees, so the more you can add to your profiles, both from an organization perspective as well as from a personnel perspective, it's going to increase the engagement you have with the attendees. For your booth, we will create your initial profiles, but you will also be given access to go in and edit all of your details as well. So if you'd like to enhance your description or add other documents, improve your tagging so that you can increase your search results, you'll also have the ability to do that. Additionally, you're going to have real-time access to all of your leads. So when we talk about your leads, you'll have the ability to download not just people that have submitted leads to you, you'll also have access to everyone that stopped by your booth and how many times they stopped by your booth. This is incredibly powerful information for you to use when you're talking about generating interest and following up with those that have expressed interest. So with this, and we will walk through it, you'll have the ability to download a list of people that have visited your booth, how often, and then we'll show you how to execute the networking as part of this. In addition, there's a number of sponsor opportunities available to you through the sponsor program that Eola will present. So as part of these sponsor opportunities, you'll have the ability to have differing banner ads, recognition on the sponsor page, and then also a more enhanced sponsor profile as well. In addition to the banner ads, there's also the potential opportunity for sponsoring different sessions and having visibility there as well. The last sponsor opportunity would be actual commercials, where we can upload videos either through your booth or other parts of the site. So these are all items that you'll want to include when you talk to Eola sponsorship. So that's an overview of what's available to you through the platform. So let's dive into a demo site where you can see how this will all interact. So when we're looking at the event website, you'll have the opportunity, again, for various sponsor recognition on the front page. And then in addition to that, you'll have your virtual trade show booth. So there are different opportunities. You can see there is the ability for a side-by-side if you wanted to break out and have multiple booths to increase your visibility. Something important when you're looking at these is we do have the ability with different sponsor levels, exhibitor tags, as well as various other tags to designate what your services are and what marketplace you're supporting. And this is important because as attendees go to search and navigate the site, they're going to use these tags to help find the right companies based on what they're looking for. So let's say that my focus is in software. When I click on software, dynamically it's going to adjust and update the exhibitor directory to allow me to find the right exhibitors for my purposes. And this is really important because as all of us that exhibit know, one of the big challenges facing exhibiting companies is getting the best visibility. So with our platform, what we've really allowed is to simplify the searching process to allow attendees to quickly and easily find all of the companies that best fit their needs. So once I click into the profile, I will also have the ability to view the information that's been uploaded. So this is an interactive demo for the purposes of today, but you'll be able to see various graphics, images, product descriptions, product images, the tags that we talked about, the ability to have differing videos, whether they're commercials or product demonstrations, as well as the ability to do different polling to help drive engagement and traction to the audience. You also have the ability to upload various documents, as we mentioned, and then as an attendee, I can also see all of the exhibitors that are taking part in the event. And then during the virtual trade show hours, we'll have our Enter Virtual booth where I will be able to video chat with any of the exhibitors. When it comes to your lead retrieval, this is available to your attendees and to you 24/7. And this is one of the big advantages of virtual that you don't get with an in-person meeting. And that's the ability to actually collect leads around the clock. So we're currently working with Eola to have a release schedule that's going to open up your virtual booth in advance of the program, which is going to extend your potential exposure to attendees and increase the potential for leads. So attendees are able to request information at any time. You will also have real-time access to be able to go in and update your booth. So if there's new documents that you've prepared that are now ready, you can go in and you can upload those documents. Very simple and easy to use interface, very easy to navigate. You also have the ability to go in and update your name. You can update a logo if there's any changes in your logo, descriptions. You have the images and documents that were loaded, as well as all of your tags and your links. So it's a very easy to navigate and use interface. And then, as I mentioned, you also have the ability to view all of your leads in real time. You can download the leads, and you'll also be able to see all of the visitors to your page, as well as the number of visitors. And if you think about the impact of this, in person, it really takes expensive RFID to get this kind of analytics, but you have real-time access to see the interest levels of these individuals. So when you're looking at your opportunities, you can see if somebody visited your booth 10 times, there's a high likelihood that they have an interest in what you're offering. And then you can also update your polls on the fly and download the results. So giving you full control of your booth online. Now that we've talked about the actual exhibit booth experience, I want to go through the networking opportunities available to you as part of this application. And this is really where I would encourage you to get in and log in as quickly as possible. what you're going to have access to is the ability to really data mine the attendees to find the right audience for you. You will have the ability to go in and, just like the attendees can search the exhibitor roster to find the companies that are best fit for them, if you have a customer profile and you know that your target market is a director level or higher within a certain market segment, you're going to be able to go in and use our ribbon and tagging system on the attendee level to find the right people to connect with. And you can use sub-categorizations such as ribbons, tags, and title all at once to really drill down and find the right people to connect with. So as I'm filtering down, here's now where you can really get into an engaging experience. And this is what differs from our platform from maybe some others that are more webinar based. With our solution, not only are you going to be able to send messages within the platform to attendees to network, you also can create and schedule meetings right within the platform as well. So if I wanted to set up an appointment with Katie, I can click on schedule meeting. From here, I can also add in additional people from my organization. So let's say Alexandra is part of my company. I can add her to the meeting. From here, we can go in and schedule time. So now what is happening is it is actually comparing all of our calendars for the meeting and allowing us to see what times we're all available. So I can click on the available time. I can send a name for the meeting. And send the invitation. So what happens here is the individuals that were invited will receive a notification within the platform, and they'll also receive an email that they've been invited to the meeting. That meeting is also automatically added into my calendar. So on my calendar, it's going to appear along with all of the education and networking hours. So you see here, we have a product demonstration, we have all the participants. You also have the ability in advance of the meeting to go in and start a dialogue. So what you've done, and you can attach documents as well, what you're doing here is you're actually creating your own mini session with the attendee or prospect that you're looking to connect with. And you'll be able to engage in dialogue through the session, attach documents, and then at the agreed upon time, there'll be a button that appears for enter video conference. So when you go in to enter the video conference, it will start a video conference where you'll all be able to see each other. You can screen share like we're doing right now, and everyone can talk. So it allows for a really collaborative meeting with your business opportunities while taking part in the meeting. Now you'll also be able to see who's accepted the meeting. If they haven't responded yet, you'll see the question mark, and if they've declined, you'll see a red X that will identify that they've declined the meeting. But it allows you ample opportunity to engage with attendees, set up meetings, and also create follow-ups for after the meeting's concluded. So unlike a traditional, maybe a Zoom session that you might attend, what this platform is giving you access to is an incredible opportunity to enhance your visibility with your virtual booth, as well as really find the right people to connect with that are attending the program and engage in real-time conversations as if you were attending in person. As we're looking through the platform, you also, as we mentioned, have the ability for the banner ads. Within the agenda, you'll have the ability to sponsor the sessions, and that can be done through icons or commercials. And then lastly, what I wanted to show you is the ability on the schedule, how that would work. So you would see your private meetings. So this is the private meeting that we just created. So when I click into the private meeting, I have the attendees that I've invited, and then I also have the discussion forum that I've created. So that's an overview of the technology. We wanted to make sure we had ample time for questions, and I do see the chat is kind of, there's definitely some questions through the chat. So I wanted to take this time to open it up so we could start to dive into some of the questions we have. Kelly, Tina, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think we can go ahead and take a look at the questions, Joy.
Excellent.
So as of now, we don't have any questions, but please feel free, if you have questions right now for Adam about the platform, to type them in to the question box on your screen, and we will pose them to Adam. All right, I just saw one come in. So Adam, how does the company manage meetings if several people have meetings at the same time?
So do you, I guess the question is, how do they manage meetings if there's several happening at the same time? So there would be dedicated trade show hours where you would want to be spending time within the booth. And then when it comes to scheduling meetings with other attendees, when you're going to schedule it, it will actually compare availability and show you times that you're mutually free. So I definitely encourage to cast the widest net. It does make sense to spread out your booth resources to meet as many people as possible, but there may be times where you want to meet at the same time, and that's really where the scheduling matching really works.
Okay, great. And then I did see a comment about the audio quality being not good, and I just want to highlight that you are currently on the GoToWebinar platform. This is not the platform that he is demoing the basics of the platform, but it will not be delivered via GoToMeeting. I don't know, Adam, if you want to address that, but I did see that question, it shouldn't be concerning because the audio will be different because it will be a different technology. The platform being used is passable.
That's correct. Yes, thanks for clarifying. I apologize if there's some audio issues, but that is correct. The video and audio services that power our solution are different from GoToWebinar. This just happens to be the tool that we're using for today's demonstration, but there's a separate system that will be used for our solution. Having said that, I mean, certainly when it comes time to have the meeting, you wouldn't want to be, if you're dialing in using voice over IP or through the computer, you wouldn't want to have 10 people in the house watching Netflix, right? You want to make sure that if you're going to be using the computer for the audio portion, you want to make sure that you're not competing against too much other items that might be taking bandwidth. But it doesn't require significant bandwidth to use, so we've not found it to be problematic for most users.
Great, thank you.
That's a great question.
Yeah, it was a good question. Thank you for that question. Hopefully that clarifies for everyone else on the phone as well, or in the webinar as well. So the next question, Kelly will be following up about exhibit space contracts, but the second part of this individual's question was how soon can we access the platform? And I believe the answer will be a couple weeks out, but Adam or Tina, did you have any more information on that? Or Kelly? I can say you will definitely have access well in advance to get in and set yourself up, and we should have more information in the coming weeks on the exact timeline.
Yeah, that's correct. I think the target is a few weeks out. We haven't set the specific date yet, but we want to give our the exhibitor people, booth personnel, exhibitor contacts, an ample time to build out their profiles before the attendees arrive and get into the platform. So that is the plan.
Perfect. All right, next question. Will there be an ability to get a report of scanned or badged attendees, including contact information?
So I can speak to the leads that are generated from the platform. You will be able to download all of the leads received through your booth, as well as you'll be able to download the visitors or access the visitors to your booth. In terms of an attendee list with contact information, that's more of a question for Eola staff.
Yeah, sure. No, as we've done in the past, when attendees register, we do ask them if they give approval for their contact information to be given out. So we will provide to AOPA members a post-show attendee list at the conclusion of the show, as we've done in the past.
Great. Next question is, how will the vendors know which attendees will be available to meet?
Great question. You'll be able to search the attendees through the application and send meeting invites. So when you do send a meeting invite, it will compare their availability. So you'll be able to see the times that they are available to meet. Now, that doesn't mean that they will automatically accept your appointment or meeting request, but you would be able to see if there's times that they're free. And then, they may propose an alternate time, but the application will show you what, if there's windows of time that they don't have other meetings booked in the platform.
Great. And on a related note, here's another question about schedule. It's a great question. So will the schedule automatically show when the exhibitors are busy, for example, when they're on keynotes or conference presentations, and only open up spots during trade show hours?
Great question. Absolutely. So you'll be able to see when you go to send a meeting request. So if I go to schedule a meeting, when I go to schedule it, you'll see that it's actually showing both my availability or when I'm booked, as well as when the other participants are booked. So as long as you've got those hours on your calendar, the sessions that you're speaking at, which you would, it would show that time is booked. And we would block off the exhibitor hours as well, so those would show up as booked as well. If you do plan on doing any product announcements or having any kind of announcement in your booth, you can also use the messaging feature within the application to communicate out to attendees that it's 3:45 is a good time to come visit our booth as we're announcing a new product or service.
Great. The next question I see is in regards to the landing page. They want a little bit more information about what that is, specifically looking to see how visible they'd be as an exhibitor instead of a sponsor.
That's more of a design decision. So that's something that the AOPA staff and our teams are working through now in terms of designing out the layouts and what content will appear where. So I think, unless AOPA would like to talk to that, I think more information to come in terms of the specific visibility on the landing page. I know there is plans for sponsor or exhibitor recognition throughout the site, but I don't know that we've defined specifically what's going to be on the landing page yet.
Great. And then we have a question, do the sponsored video commercials play before the session begins?
That will probably depend on which sessions. I know there are some regulations around when they can play. So I think that would be treated on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. And then another question regarding to videos. Can videos be embedded in our exhibit space?
Yes, absolutely. So you can embed one or many videos. So if we look at this profile here, we have different images, product images, booth staff, and then you also have the videos here. So you could have multiple videos if you wanted to display multiple videos as well, but you definitely have the ability of having that as part of your booth space.
Great. And I am seeing the questions coming in about pricing a booth. And again, per Kelly's intro, we're going to take those and respond to those individually. So you will get a follow-up email with the answer to those questions. So any questions about pricing, you can submit them and we will respond to individually. Next question in regards to the platform. When an attendee visits our booth just to browse, will their information be collected and available to us as a lead?
It will not appear as a lead, but you will have their information. So as I go into this example here, you'll be able to go into your management portal and you'll be able to see your specific leads, but also your visits. So the visits is where you're going to see everyone that visited your booth, but not only who visited, but when and how often. So you will have the ability to really find out which attendees are higher priority than others, because you'll be able to see, for example, Jennifer Bauer, maybe she only visited once, but if I visited 6 times or 18 times, it's worth noting that there's a higher level of interest there likely. So you will have access to this, and this is all real time as well.
Great. And then there's a question about, do we have any recommendations for bandwidth?
That's a great question. Just using the site is less of an issue. When you talk about the actual video conferencing piece, usually between 1 and 2 megabytes is enough. Certainly the more the better. One thing to consider also, when you measure your bandwidth, I wouldn't take your internet service provider's word for it. There are tools that you can use like speedtest.net, which is a website, which will actually measure the bandwidth you're getting to your actual device. So for example, you may have a 30 megabyte connection, but if you have 5 people in your household and you have 3 TVs connected, those are all consuming bandwidth. So I would encourage you, before entering into any virtual meeting solution, to just run a speed test and just see what you're actually getting to your device. Because a lot of people just assume I've got a 30 megabyte connection, and because of inherent downgrades through the internet pipeline to your house, and then at your house, other devices, it will be less at your specific computer. So definitely something that's a great question. I would encourage anyone just to do that anyway. And again, it's a free website, speedtest.net, I think is the exact URL, and that can run a test to your device.
Great. I see a question about how the conference is going to work regarding scheduling and with the roundtable sessions. There is a schedule now available on the Eola website. If you go on the Assembly webpage, that kind of talks a little bit about more how the sessions are going to work in terms of the kickoffs and the on-demand sessions, etc. So I encourage you to go look at that, and we will certainly have lots of more forthcoming information on the schedule. And yes, there's a question, will there be a webinar for virtual booth demos? That is coming. We will have several more webinars with demos. We will also be providing one-on-one support going forward. So have no worries. We want you to be confident and totally secure in the platform, and we are doing everything to ensure that that happens.
Yeah, just to add to that, we will be conducting live training webinars for exhibit staff that will walk through step by step how you can optimize your booth and best practices. So those will happen. We'll do at least one live, and we'll record it as well. So that will be sent out as a recording and available to you. And then during the event, we'll also provide live support. So you'll be able to jump into a support room and get support real time. So we fully understand this is new for everybody, and there's a learning curve for everyone. So we want to make sure that everyone is as comfortable as possible and is getting report in as timely a manner as possible to ensure that you have the best experience possible.
Great. And then a question about how are they going to be notified, Adam, when an attendee enters their booth and requests information? Does it pop up, send an email?
Great question. So there's 2 notifications. It won't notify you if someone just visits the booth, but if you get a lead or if you get a meeting request, you will receive an email, and you'll also receive, if you look here on the screen, there's a notification section. You'll also receive a notification for any messages sent to you.
Great. And then the next question, can you have multiple staff in different meetings at the same time?
Yes, you can. The virtual booth is one meeting, but you could have different people in private meetings as well. So you could theoretically have maybe one person in the virtual booth, and then you could actually be setting up appointments one-on-one with other staff as well. So you definitely have that flexibility.
Great. Next question. How much time do you anticipate it could take an exhibitor to do the site setup with their virtual booth, and what skill sets would be advantageous in terms of creating an engaging booth and organized interactions with attendees? That's a really good question.
That is a great question. It really won't take much time at all to set up your booth, as long as you have all the content that you want to place in there. So when it comes to optimizing it, I like the idea of having video. So whether that's a commercial or a product demonstration or even a recorded announcement of some sort, I definitely think there's value in having that there. Pictures can help enhance it as well. And then description, I would not be too verbose with. I think something short and sweet, maybe a paragraph, 2 paragraphs maximum is good. And then really, I would encourage really a high quality image. So it does make a difference to make sure it's high resolution. So I think more of the time is going to be spent just curating all of the content. The actual adding it to the booth can be done. Someone that knows what they're doing in 10 minutes. But I think within an hour, newer users should be able to add everything to their booth. The more time-consuming part is just deciding what you want to include and getting that content from other people within your organization.
Great. And I'm getting a couple of questions about best practices to drive people to your virtual booth and making sure attendees attend the exhibit hall. And I know when staff had talked to Adam and his team, we're definitely going to get you some best practices. Adam, I don't know, Adam, do you want to speak to that question any more than that?
Yeah, it's the age-old question, right? And I think that's one of those things that's consistent from in-person to virtual as well, is how do you get people to your booth? And I think, let's face it, even if you look at in-person meetings, you can see the exhibitors that are actually reaching out into the aisle and bringing people in, and you can see the people sitting on a stool and just looking at their iPhone. And to a certain degree, the same thing holds true with virtual. If you're active in soliciting people to come visit and to meet with, and providing incentive for them to join you at your booth, I think you're going to have more success than if you just add your profile or add your logo and let them come to you. So I think it's all about, just like in person, it's about how active you are and how proactive you are in terms of finding people to connect with and trying to set up meetings ahead of time and getting them on the calendar and getting them into the booth. So I think that's one of those aspects that is really, it's a different mechanism, it's a different environment, but the same thing holds true. It's about, to a certain extent, it is about effort and how much you put in terms of reaching out to people and making introductions and trying to schedule meetings ahead of time. And also you can use, like I mentioned, the polling in the booth to drive traffic as well. So some of those same tools that you might use in person, you can translate to digitally as well. But to answer the question further, we are going to come up with, we'll put together a personalized recommendations document for this event to give you some additional hints and tricks.
Great. Next question, is the messaging feature sent to all attendees or do they have to search for the announcement?
That's a great question. So I think there's twofold. For individual messages would go right to the attendee. Any kind of attendee-wide broadcast you'd want to coordinate through Eola.
Great. There's a question about exhibitor hours overlapping with sessions. We are going to have some we will have dedicated exhibit hours like we do in person. So there'll be more information on that coming, as well as when you can host meetings, etc. Question about the landing page. Will the landing page show that an exhibitor is online when a member of, when they are online, will that show up on attendees' screens?
So it won't do that, but when you talk about the exhibitor virtual room, that would be available when the exhibitor hours are. So attendees will be communicated with to notify them of those exhibitor hours and encouraged to go visit the exhibit floor where they'll be able to join, but it won't designate on your profile that you're online.
Great. I believe the answer to this question is yes. I think the products are on the example below, but the question is, will there be a way for products to be displayed by images to the attendees?
Absolutely, yeah. That's what we're showing here in this demo is the product examples of the education materials. So you can upload pictures. You could upload documents. So product sheets, user guides. You can also have a link back to your website as well. So if you wanted to refer back to your own web page for a product, you can also do that, where you would include a link to any reference materials on your website as well.
Perfect. A couple of more questions about leads. How long is the data of the leads available after the conference? And then along the question is I guess it's a good question too, because I think there's been some confusion. What constitutes a lead on this platform? What in theory designates them as that lead?
Great questions. In terms of how long it is going to be live, that actually I'll defer to Eola. I don't know that we've designated a specific time range, but I can tell you it will be available after the event. I don't know if Eola would like to speak to that in more detail.
So Joyce, 30 days after the event.
30 days.
Sorry, I was muted.
Not as long as possible, unless 30 days is as long as possible for you, but 30 days, so definitely a while after the assembly.
Yeah, and then in terms of what types of leads, the leads that are defined as leads are submitted through the page, where you'll be able to, you can see here this request information, which would be a lead. And then in addition, you also have tracked visitors. So we differentiate between a lead and a visitor. So you can see here the list of leads, and then you have the list of visitors.
That'd be great.
So you can see more. So we can go into here to Amazon and manage this one. So here you can see in this example, we've got some additional leads with the notes. This is what they submitted. And then with the visitors, you can see the different visitors, the company they're with, notes, the number of visits. So again, this is really where you can start to see if somebody's visited your booth 10 times, there's a high likelihood they have an interest, and that's somebody that you'll want to connect with. And then you can visit their profile. Here you can see you can download your leads. And then you can download it.
And I keep seeing some questions about, go ahead.
The download is in Excel format, so you'll have it in a spreadsheet format that you can use to upload into a CRM or sales system.
Oh, good information. And I do see questions about pricing, and again, Kelly will follow up with you, as well as some questions about adding additional staff now that you've seen the platform. And the answer is yes, that is going to be possible. We had that thought already. So we will have more information on that for you as well. Okay, so next question. This one is about the poll, or about opportunities rather. Are there other opportunities that exist beyond a poll that can be listed on your exhibit page? Request for information, sample requests, etc. And if so, what are those options?
Great question. So yes, you'd have the request information, and that's really where you'd have sample requests, requests for additional discussions. In terms of other ways you could drive people to your booth, the polling is a great opportunity to encourage engagement, and you can do giveaways and things of that nature. And then the other way you could do it is drawings for people that just visit. So that's another opportunity. So there's different ways that you can use the communication tools as well as the real estate on your booth to drive that traffic.
Great. And then I think this question is just directed generally, because I know you haven't had experience with us, but Adam, what kind of volumes do you see of percentage of attendees are going to booths with other people you've worked for, or other companies or organizations you've worked with?
In terms of just attendee traffic?
Yeah, I think there's some people just looking to see, like, do people in a virtual conference are they actually visiting exhibit halls? Do they go to the exhibit?
It's a great question. Yeah, I mean, I think candidly speaking, it's been a bit mixed, but it's going to depend on, and this is what I can tell you that the Eola staff is committed to, more so than really any customer I've talked to recently, is designing the program in a way that is encouraging the networking and encouraging giving exclusive time to the exhibit community. So, you know, it just like, and again, I know virtual is a different experience, but so much of an in-person meeting also carries over in terms of best practices, in terms of scheduling dedicated exhibit hours, giving open availability for the kind of networking that we're talking about. So we actually have some customers that have had greater visibility with their exhibit hall than they would normally have. So I think to a certain extent, it's going to vary customer to customer and attendee base to attendee base. But we have seen some good returns in terms of attendee interaction, as long as the program is set up in a way to encourage it.
Yes, and I can second what Adam says. Tina and Kelly and team are 110% on board with making that the case for the assembly attendees. Okay, regarding the platform, can the headers be changed? I guess he's talking about like the quote description, quote files. Can you change the headers in the platform?
Not on a booth by booth basis. So we would need to come up with a standard for the program, and then it would be consistent across all the booths.
Great. I'm just looking for platform questions. Again, I do see a lot of your questions specific to booths and pricing and sizing, et cetera. And I know that Kelly and team will get back to you. And then a question that came through about small sponsored meetings. I think that we've had a couple questions about interaction with multiple attendees, and this response will hopefully get at it. Is there a way for exhibitors to engage with during small sponsored meetings to build traction?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that. You can set up private meetings where you can invite, I think, up to 20 people. So that would be one way that you could do the meetings. And then in terms of adding in sponsored meetings on the agenda, I know that's been discussed, but I'll defer to Tina or Kelly to clarify if that's been determined to be happening.
Okay, so this is Tina. That's a great question. That has not been determined yet. We are in the process of finalizing the education program and developing the sponsorships. So that should be out to you just after the 4th of July holiday.
All right, so we've answered a lot of questions, and I am seeing no more coming in at this point. And again, we will get responses to all of the questions that we did not answer here, specifically the ones about pricing, exhibit hours, etc. Again, we will have more demos more demos to set up, how to use it, how to do all the bells and whistles, best practices, etc.